Alrighty guys, welcome back to Balake's Fish Room. So this week what I wanted to do was just an update on the Maskaheros Argenteus tank. So if you watched the last update or the last fish room update that I did, you would have seen that this tank has had a lot of changes. And that's pretty much what I wanted to go through this week. A couple of changes to kind of everything that I'm doing as well, not just on this aquarium, but also on the aquariums out in the fish room. But yeah, kind of what I wanted to start with, I guess, was the fish that are now in this tank, or I guess the fish that aren't in this tank anymore. So I'll come in here. Obviously we've got the big guy here, so we've got Cronus. So Cronus, he's probably getting to, I'd say he's about 11 inches, maybe close to 12, but I haven't measured him or anything like that. So the cool thing about him is that even after changing around the whole tank and everything, him and the female Rhea, they're still getting on really well. Not really well, they're still getting on pretty well. Like, he does chase her around a little bit like that, but for the most part, it's pretty harmonious in this tank. Probably the biggest change, I guess, fish-wise, that's happened is there's no more blue eyes in this tank, or the Cryptoheros spirillus. So the only fish that are in here now, I've got the big male Argenteus over in the terracotta pipe. She's either in the terracotta pipe or in here. No, she must be in the pipe. So I've got the male Argenteus, and then we've got a little colony of convicts. So we've got the big male that we can, come on, let's focus in. So yeah, we've got this big male. He's probably around 4.5, 5 inches. And then there's 3 female convicts in here as well. So these little guys. So we've got one here, and then one here. And this is probably the nicest of the females, or the female that he spawns with the most. And the reason for that is, one, there was a lot of mouths to feed in this tank. There was heaps and heaps of fish. So I had these guys, plus I had, I think when I vented them, when I moved them out of the tank, there was 4, here's the female Argenteus. There she goes. So I've kind of created like a tunnel that goes from this log back into that terracotta pipe. So there's kind of a good 2-3 foot section that she can get through that he can't really get into. He can get his head into the back of this log, but he can't get any further. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying? So yeah, there were a lot of mouths to feed in this tank, and pretty much I didn't want there to be an overload on the filtration system. The main reason I did take the fish out is because I did change a lot of the filtration, and that's what I'm going to get to in a little bit, that I've changed on all the tanks. But yeah, so I've taken out there was 3 clown loaches in here. There was the 4 male blue eyes and 1 female, I believe. So they've gone out into the Salvini tank, because out in the Salvini tank, the male kept trying to kill the female after they finish spawning or taking care of the fry. The male keeps on trying to kill her. So what I'm trying to do out there is do more of a community style aquarium, so that, you know, hopefully that once they finish spawning, that both the male and the female are trying to defend themselves against the blue eyes rather than trying to kill each other. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. So you can see he does still chase her around the tank and give her a nip here and there, but compared to how it was originally when I first got these guys, it's nowhere near as bad. So yeah, see, he's pretty feisty. So yeah. So I guess the next thing to touch on this aquarium. So I don't know if you can tell, but there's no sump filter anymore. There's no downpipe that comes down here. I've taken the sump off this aquarium, and the main reason for that was that I had a really makeshift sump. So a couple of weeks ago, I had actually a power outage where all the power went out. So it didn't just go out for this tank, but it also went out for the fish room. And I guess the lucky thing was I was actually heading out for the weekend. I was going to be gone for 2 days. The lucky thing was it was about 20 minutes before I was meant to leave that all the power went out. And I guess the stupid thing on my part is, and I knew it, like I knew it was it was always a risk, and I kind of just kept putting it off, and I was really lucky that I was here when it happened. But in the sump style that I had set up, if the power went out, the sump would actually keep flowing out. So the white pipe that was coming down here, there was no blockage and was coming down to about half the level of the tank. And so it would have kept flowing out when the pump was off, and water would have kept flowing out to drain this tank by half. And this tank is 6 foot long by 2 foot wide by 2.5 foot tall. So I think it comes to about 760 liters. So I would have ended up with I reckon close to 300 liters of water all over the floor, all over the vinyl flooring, which would have swollen. So I would have had to take everything out, rip up all the flooring, refloor the whole interior, because this one's in my little flat. So yeah, would not have been good. It would have been a really costly exercise. So after that little scare, I decided, you know what, it's not actually worth having the sump on this tank when it's so much easier just to have sponge filters. So, and I've got no issue with sponge filters. Sponge filters used to be, I used to actually wonder why people had sponge filters, and because I used to think, why would you have something that like ugly that's in your tank like that? But I guess for me, once I kind of learnt the multiple benefits of having sponge filters, and when I learn anything that has multiple benefits, I tend to lean more towards that idea. So the sponge filters, one, they mechanically filter your water. They biologically filter your water, and they provide the air supply. They provide heaps of oxygen and give the water a lot of up and down rotation, so it keeps the water moving a lot. So and I guess the other thing that I've got in this aquarium to support is this wave maker up here. So I don't have wave makers on my other tanks. I've been thinking about getting them. I've got those little internal filters, which are I think they're Aqua ones, and they're just the little internal filters that just like suction cup to the side of the tank, and that gives me a bit of water rotation as well. But yeah, I thought, well, why bother having a sump filter when, as long as I clean the sponges and I make sure that the aquarium has enough water movement and everything, then why not? I think it's perfectly fine. And I might get an internal filter or something, or maybe even one day a canister filter to go on this tank. But I think for now, 4 sponge filters in this aquarium, along with this probably isn't doing much right now, but I've got pothos that's growing in the top here. So I've got hang on, I'll see if I can show you something I did yesterday as well. So up the top here, I've just got, it's pretty makeshift, but I've got pieces of duct tape that are actually screwed to the underside of this lid to hold up the lighting. And so it comes down here. I've got it there as well, and it goes to there. So the and then that's so that the pothos can actually get a bit of light. So this might not go back down properly. Ready for a loud noise. There we go. Yeah, so the pothos, it's probably not doing a whole lot because it's still just starting to get its roots going, but it would be doing something. But I think that's plenty in terms of filtration for this aquarium. I've got 2 large fish. There's plenty of oxygen, plenty of water movement. You know, as you learn a bit more about how filtration actually works, is that, you know, the sponge filters, they're not the only filters in here. The substrate, this log, the terracotta pot here, all these logs, the surface of all the glass, everything, absolutely everything that's in this aquarium that has a surface, not the water, but everything in this aquarium that has a surface, and especially things like terracotta and wood and everything like that, because it's porous, and things and the bacteria can actually live in there. Everything in this aquarium is actually the filter, and it's constantly scrubbing the water, keeping everything nice and clean. And that's another reason why I don't really have an issue with algae building up on my tanks, because it might be ugly, and you might not be able to see the fish perfectly clear. I know on the black nasty tank right now, there's so much algae that's on the front of the tank, but it's helping the fish. It's keeping the tank nice and clean, so I've got no issues with it. But yeah, that's kind of why that I think, you know, sponge filters are perfectly fine. So yeah, so for the most part, I don't want to keep rambling too much, but for the most part, this tank is going really well. I'm happy with the new filtration. I'm happy with the amount of fish that are in here. Obviously convicts don't grow very big. I think they're a good balance, because this male convict that you can see here, he's always trying to challenge the male and the female Argenteus, and once the Argenteus get too crazy or too aggressive, he just darts away. But the good thing is he's always on his tail, always trying to compete with the bigger fish and distracting them. So by no means do I have a pair yet of the Argenteus. So while I have these little bulldog fish, the convicts in here, I'll never take these guys out. These are what I think are really essential to this tank working at the moment. So yeah, I guess probably the only other thing to mention would be one of the other plants that I'm looking to get into this tank. Is actually, it's called red spider mangrove. So I might have shown it in a previous video, but there's mangrove seedlings or seed pods that have just started to take root in one of the tanks out there. So I wouldn't mind getting a mangrove tree growing in the corner of one of these tanks. That'd be really, really cool. So yeah, guys, I guess that's it from me this week. Just a quick update on the Argenteus. Obviously I don't really have a pair yet. I've just got a male and a female in a tank, hoping that they don't kill each other. And I've had them for probably 10 months now, I'd say. Definitely longer than 6 months. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked that, one, they're still alive, and two, that everything's going pretty well even after moving everything around. So I've given them a lot more open space to swim around in. Kept the female with her same hiding places, which she just darts away to when he starts to get too much. And yeah, I think it's just something you've just got to stay on the ball with. So anyway, guys, the next video that I'm going to do is the update for the month of April. And so that's going to be the full presentation of the fish room in full swing. So I don't actually know if it's going to be the next video or the video after, but it is definitely going to be this month that's going to come out. There's just a few little bits and pieces that I need to get done. But other than that, I look forward to showing you guys the fish room all done and dusted. So if you got any comments, questions, or tips for me as well, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Always happy to hear other people's experiences with these fish, especially Argentine. They're a pretty rare species in Australia, so if you've got heaps of experience with them and bred them and got them to pair up, I'd love to hear what you have to say about them. So but other than that, guys, thanks for stopping in at Blarco's Fish Room, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Finish out on this little convict here. See you guys.